Oh, yeah, it's time to turn it up. Oh, you know it, every Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m., Sports Corner, Ralph Williams, Smokin, Jim Frazier, and that's every Tuesday, and we are here for the edition of Sports Corner every Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m. Big show for you today. We have a bunch of guys, a bunch of people coming on today, including our new first-time guest, William AIKEN. He does a show called the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. He will join us soon. We have two from Draft Nation coming on today, Joe KUKLIS and JT TOTH. I tell you what, this is one phenomenal show. I have Amped Up Sports, Leo Haggerty and Mike SISZAK will join us to talk about Baltimore and the Cleveland Browns and the Bengals. And then also I didn't want to forget the name BUBBA BREWER from the Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dynasty podcast. So, and also wrestling promoter. We're going to talk just a tad about his wrestling promotion as well. All right. This show is dedicated, as usual, as it is every single week, to my late father, Ralph Williams II, and my late nephew, Sean Negley Jr. And also, I want to send my condolences out to the families of the people who passed in regards to the Trump rally. And as well, in this show, we're going to send our condolences out to you today for that. We have a whole bunch of national sponsors: ASAP Sports, Amped Up Sports, Sideline Sports, Steel City Sports World, Galaxy Sports Network, Fan First Sports Network, Draft Nation. We also have CRSMSportmedia.com, and we also have TGI Sports Network as well. And those are our national sponsors also. Don't forget tomorrow, 3 o'clock p.m., Ralph's Opinion. Lots to talk about between the Trump, the election, Kamala Harris, Biden stepping down. I tell you what, it's a big show tomorrow, as it always is every Wednesday, 3 p.m. here on our social media platforms. Right now, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm not paying Elon Musk any extra money to be on Twitter or X, so it will not be live, but I will post. All right, so, and then we're going to be on LinkedIn. We'll have our own Roku channel, and we're also going to be on Spotify. So that's all coming up real soon here for Sports Corner and RW Media Productions. Smokin, Jim Frazier, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm looking forward to this one, buddy.
All right. Later on, we're going to get your opinion about the fight over the weekend with Jake Paul and that Perry dude. We're going to get your thoughts on that fight and the upcoming fight with Mike Tyson in November. All right, so let's get started here with our show. But first, I have a rant, my rant, and then we're going to go into Smokin Jim's wisdom. My rant today is twofold. Training camp is starting. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, this, oh, that, the preliminaries. Steelers are going to Super Bowl. Steelers are doing this. Steelers are doing that. Look, it's training camp. We haven't even started anything yet. It starts tomorrow. And we're going to find out where everybody is on this football team. We have a lot of problems in a lot of different ways. All right. The Steelers need to clean up a lot of stuff, and I hope they do it during training camp, and I hope they can get it done in the preseason. We're going to find out who the quarterback is. We're going to find out what the wide receivers are going to do and the running game. We're going to see what Arthur Smith's offense looks like. So just wait and see. It's called patience is a virtue. And that's my rant for today. Smokin Jim's wisdom.
The dream team needed a buzzer beater to beat South Sudan. Where's South Sudan at, man? I tell you what, man, this team, man, I don't know if they're hungry or not. They said that was just one off, but then they come back and only beat Germany by 4. I don't see a gold medal for this team. South Sudan wasn't even a country. You know, they didn't even have their freedom a few years ago. They have no indoor basketball facilities, and they still almost took a buzzer beater for the USA to beat them, man.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's my wisdom.
All right. Smokin Jim's wisdom. Okay, let's get to our first guest today for our Steeler AFC North special show today. We have a bunch of guests coming on, Joe, but you lead off here.
I'm honored. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Joe KUKLIS is from Draft Nation. Joe, talk about your show you do on Tuesday nights on Blog Talk Radio with Mark Mancini.
Well, we just rotated off of that, in fact. We're doing it on
Really?
our own now, and as
Wow.
you're a member
I'm
of
sorry,
Fan
I
First,
didn't know about that.
that's
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, no, as you're a member of Fan First Sports Network, so are we,
Yes.
and so we do our shows around the country. We do a Tuesday night 9 p.m. Show that that's a national show, and then we also do 2 regional shows a week in our affiliate. So here in Pittsburgh, in Charlotte, and in Indianapolis.
No wonder Mark's trying to get me back.
That's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. Smokin Jim, you have anything to say to Joe?
Hey, always good to hear from you, Joe.
Nice to be back, Smokin Jim.
All right. Joe, we're getting ready for the Steelers season here. Training camp starts tomorrow. Your thoughts on this season, the schedule? We're going to go over that later on, and the roster for training camp. We're going to talk about that as well. But right now, your thoughts on what you feel the Steelers could do or you think is going to happen this year?
Well, I think the Steelers are positioned well to be another wild card team. I don't think it's much different than last year's. I think there's too many question marks around the core of the team for us to say that they have enough of a change and enough talent to surpass perhaps Baltimore or a renewed effort from Cincinnati based on Joe Burrow's return. But they did try to address many of those concerns in the offseason. They went out and got Patrick Queen. They traded for a corner, and in trading for a corner also left a pesky wide receiver that I think people were getting sick of his antics. I also think that they have to see what they have in the wide receiver room. Right now it's George Pickens and a bunch of question marks, and of course at quarterback, which is the biggest question mark you can have on any team. They moved away from Kenny Pickett. They moved away from Mitch Trubisky. They moved away from Mason Rudolph, and now we've got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in here, and we'll see what happens there. But I think the defense is strong enough to make them a wild card team. Probably nothing more than that, but ultimately a lot of this depends on how Russell Wilson plays and pans out, and if he's if he's what he was in his waning years in Seattle, they could be pretty competitive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Smokin Jim, any questions for Joe?
Hey, Joe, how long of the leash you think Russell Wilson will have?
Well, as someone who's watched Justin Fields since college at a scouting level, as much as he's fun to watch as a fantasy football player, he's really had a difficult time transitioning into the NFL as a true quarterback. I think people are excited to watch him play. I think he can make big plays, but at the end of the day, he's got a strong arm. He's got great legs, can get around the field and do what you want him to do. But ultimately, he misses 5-6 balls a game that should be hit by an accurate NFL mediocre quarterback. And I think that, perhaps they're giving him a second chance, another bite at the apple. He didn't have much talent around him in Chicago. So I think Russell's leash is going to be long. Here's a guy that has 15 years of NFL experience, has won a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl, and could, at this point in his career, be a game manager, which is exactly what I think Mike Tomlin and, our new offensive coordinator and Arthur Smith want. I mean, he did exactly that in Tennessee with Brian Tannehill. And I think as long as he has someone who's not going to make mistakes, as long as Wilson can understand he might not have the wheels he once had, he may not have the scramble ability and the let Russ cook kind of stuff that he might have had 4 or 5 years ago. If he plays the game well and stays within the system, I think he has a really long leash, because I think Fields in the end is going to be a solid backup quarterback in this league, but is not going to pan out as a starter.
All right, Joe, let me ask you another question here. The corner position on the defense and the defensive line, to me, are suspect. I'm not happy with what I see on the defensive line, other than Logan Lee. I think they needed to go out and get a free agent somewhere or do something. And with Cam Hayward's contract situation in limbo still, we don't know what's going to happen with him. Do you agree that on the defense, other than that, maybe inside linebacker, we don't know what Cole Holcomb's going to be like. We don't even know if he's going to come back. What do you think about the defense? And then we'll go into the offense.
Yeah, well, I think the defense is pretty good. If you take the addition of Patrick Queen, you have one of the league's best inside linebackers. I know that there's an argument and a strain of thought out there that includes the fact that Patrick Queen got better when Roquan Smith showed up. Of course he did. I would. You know what I mean? You would, Ralph.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
out on the field, I mean, Roquan Smith's all world, right? But Patrick Queen is young, and they brought him in to fill a hole that they haven't been able to fill since they've had the departure of Ryan Shazier.
Right.
And with Holcomb and some other moves they made, even with Peyton Wilson in the third round earlier this year, drafting a guy who runs a 4.3 40. They're trying to cobble together a Frankenstein version of Shazier, so that, and maybe they can do that. And they also have some guys that can move up and down in the box, like modern day football is played with safeties. And I think Deshaun Elliott was an understated but much needed addition to the team. But your point about the defensive line and the corners is true. The cornerbacks are suspect right now. Joey Porter Jr. is coming into a second year. I think that we'll see what Darius Rush can do and Corey Trice can do. Cam Sutton will start the season suspended, and will accept that suspension, so we won't see what he can do until later in the year. But we already know how great of a player he is in the slot. I think that's where they intend to play him.
Right.
But I think the question mark is that second corner position. Does Dante Jassy, can he come in here and be the guy that he was 2 years ago prior to injury? Or are we seeing an aging, injured player that, is going to hold down a spot for a year until they can replace him? On the defensive line, if Hayward stays healthy and there's the continued, ascension of Keanu Benton, and if we can find a place for, Neal, I think that they've got some stuff, they've got some pieces to the puzzle there. But you're right, corner and defensive tackle are probably one of those places where they could try to improve, late in this preseason here with some veterans that get moved or guys that aren't panning out. We'll see what happens there. But ultimately, that's the problem with a salary cap league. You're never going to have 100% in every one of those categories. And so these are the two places where I think they need to build for the future. But for now, they're going to have to play the hand they've been dealt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Joe, on offense here, your thoughts on the offensive line and the wide receiver core? I think the wide receiver core is a little suspect other than George Pickens. The running game looks solid. They got a couple other guys behind, behind Najee Harris and behind, Jalen Warren. So I'm thinking, the running game is solid, but I think the wide receiver core is a little suspect. And I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to see a lot of passes to the tight end. Is that correct? Or we're going to see more tight end sets?
Well, maybe, it depends on what Arthur Smith wants to do and what Tomlin's agreed to allow him to do in that respect. If you rewind the clock to Tennessee, yeah, you'll see a lot of passes to the tight end. If you look just last year and the year before to Atlanta, where Arthur Smith was head coach, you didn't see Kyle Pitts used in the way people thought he was going to be used when he was chosen in the top 5 as a tight end. So I think that just depends. They have the talent there, with both Freiermuth and Washington, that's for sure. But I think, the administration under Omar Khan and Andy Weidel are really focused on the rebuild of the offensive line. And it might not be, all pros today, but I think they've got a bunch of guys on there and Broderick Jones and Fatanu and Frazier that can really make this a special offensive line a year or two from now. And with, Daniels and Simayalo still on, the roster this year, they will be much improved. And you're right, as a running game, they've got 2 solid backs, and they brought in Cordarrelle Patterson, who can also spot as a gadget guy, a running back, a wide receiver. He's a sort of a do-it-all.
And I heard don't sell out the Edwards kid. I heard don't sell him out either.
No. And Hayward, those guys
he
are.
Was Georgia. He was in a running game there.
Yeah,
so
they've got talent there. I think you're right about the wide receiver core. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Brandon Ayuk and or Terry McLaurin and or the next guy on the list that might be floated to trade. I don't think the Steelers are going to do that. I don't think that's the way they're going to go. I think they want to see that if George Pickens can be a 1 and carry this team, and they put some guys around him, including their 3rd round selection of Roman Wilson from Michigan, who's got speed and can play that slot position. We've heard a lot about pre-camp stuff about Calvin Austin sort of finding his own. And then they went out and got a bunch of journeyman guys with, chief among them, Van Jefferson, that might be a good number 2. We'll see. I don't think they're done there, but I also don't think they're going to make this splash trade that everybody thinks they're going to make. It's just not the Steelers' way. It's hard. I don't still see them investing that in a receiver like an Ayuk that might cost them upwards of $25 or $30 million, in cap space next year. And if they're going to make a trade like that, even though he's playing on his rookie contract, that's a lot to give up for a guy that they don't know if they can re-sign. That would be a trade and sign kind of thing, and they'd have to work out some AAV on that makes sense for them on a salary cap side. But I just think that might be a little bit more wishful thinking.
All right, Smokin Jim, you have any more questions for Joe before he leaves?
Yeah, Joe, excellent as usual. I keep hearing about Roman Wilson being too small, but he's 5'11", 185. Antonio Brown was only 5'10", 185. Santonio Holmes, 5'11", 190, and Louis Lips, 5'10", 190. Do you think he's too small to play outside, or do you think he's just a slot guy?
I think he's a slot guy. I think his speed might allow him to play a little bit on the outside, but I think he will excel in the slot just based on what I've seen in Michigan and his speed in the early camp conversations and just the stuff from that. I think he will start out in the slot. Maybe they push him outside a bit, but I think he's designed to be an inside guy.
All right, Joe, hang on a second here. I gotta put you back where I need you there. There we go. All right. Joe, thanks for being on the program today. I really appreciate it, and it was great having you on as always.
My pleasure, Ralph. Anytime, boys.
All right, thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Joe KUKLIS from Draft Nation. His colleague JT TOTH will join us later on. And right now we have a new guest that's part of the program. You prefer Bill, Will, or William?
Oh, you know what? I've been called a lot worse, Ralph. Yeah, Bill's fine.
Okay, great, Bill.
So.
Bill AIKEN, welcome to the program from the Pittsburgh Sports Desk podcast, which I've checked out a few times, and you do a really good job there with your panel and and topics and everything else. So I want to compliment you on that. Smokin Jim is by phone, my co-host. Smokin Jim, say hello to Bill.
Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Smokin Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. We're here today to talk about the Steelers. We have a new sponsor today as part of Sports Corner. And I want to ask you a question. Have you heard the old saying, taken to the cleaners? Have you ever been taken to the cleaners? Well, the last thing that I would ever want to do is to direct you to someone that's going to take you to the cleaners. Well, I have something for you. If you need your car worked on, call the Big Dog. Big Dog Auto in West Mifflin. Give them a call today and get a hold of them. And you know what? Big Dog Auto will not charge you a lot of money. And all on top of that, they will not rip you off, and they will do an excellent job fixing your car. Call Big Dog Auto today. Oil change, inspection, and also brakes and much, much more. 412-999-0191. Our new sponsor here for RW Media and Sports Corner. Big Dog Auto, West Mifflin, right by the county airport. Give them a call today, 412-999-0191. Big Dog Auto. And we're also in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios. That's 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Give them a call. Your air conditioner on a bum. It's summertime, man. We're in the deep thick of things. So make sure you give Mata a call. Fix your air conditioner today. We're going to go to the comment section. RXJ, our steady viewer here. Hello, Ralph. Hope you're doing great. Good show today. Thank you, RXJ. And okay, Bill, let's get talking about the Steelers a little bit here. We're also later on, we're going to have two guys coming on from Amped Up Sports. One's going to talk about Baltimore Ravens, and the other one's going to talk about Cleveland and Cincinnati as part of our Steeler AFC North show today. Bill, your thoughts on what do you think the Steelers will do this year?
Oh boy! Well, a couple shows ago, we actually, when the day that the schedule was released, we had our show, and we basically did a rundown of the schedule and what we thought. And I come up with 9-8. It's a tough schedule. I mean, my goodness. I mean, how about that Christmas game?
Yeah, Christmas Day game. Yeah, the NFL's getting so greedy nowadays, Bill. It's getting out of control here with some of this stuff. And now it's Christmas Day. Christmas Day used to be one of them things where you spend it with your family, not watching football. You watch football on Thanksgiving, that kind of thing. So, and I know Roger Goodell and the owners are always trying to find some new method of getting more revenue for the NFL, and Christmas Day is one of them because they got to pay out that lawsuit now for that sports thing that they screwed up on, or or whatever. And each team has to give $450 million, and I find that very appalling. That and now the NFL is finding ways to make money to make up for that loss, and now they're going into Christmas Day games. So I mean, and that's where we are there.
Well,
So
and you want to talk about oversaturation. I mean, there's, I mean, well, I don't know, if you saw our show, we had Bill Hillgrove on back in
yeah,
April, and he was talking
yeah.
about,
I had him on my old radio show, my former radio show, about 3-4 months ago. I had him on,
well, and,
after he retired.
he made the comment. He said, I don't know. Do you think they really care about player safety when you have,
No.
So, I mean, that's another topic, but no, I tell you what, it's going to be tough for them this year. I mean, there are improvements. I mean, obviously, you look at that quarterback room, you got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Another guy, I mean, adding Patrick Queen to me was
Yes, he's the big talk of the whole thing. I mean,
right.
he was. I think he was the best free agent we signed this year, other than Russell Wilson. I mean,
Yeah. Absolutely. And, I mean, there's a lot of talk about, well, who's going to be starting, come mid-season. Is
Right.
Russell going to hold on to the job? Is Fields going to be able to beat him out? You know what? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is on that. I mean, you'd think that Russell Wilson would be able to hold on to the job and, wouldn't lose to Justin Fields, but two different quarterbacks. I mean, right? I mean, Russell Wilson, obviously a proven veteran, a guy that's, proven himself. And Justin Fields, a guy that has buku talent, but hasn't really been given the proper tools, I don't know, to succeed necessarily. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be, Arthur Smith. That's another. You were talking to that last guest. It's going to be a different offense.
Yes.
Obviously, they've said, hey, they want to run the football more. They want to make run first, and they're going to utilize the tight end a lot more. I don't know. In a passing league, in a league that's pass happy, I don't know how that's going to work. It's not the days of great running games and elite defenses are kind of over.
Right. They always said defense wins football games a lot, and Super Bowls. Smokin' Jim, do you have anything you want to add to with Bill?
Yeah, great comments, Bill. Are you down on the Steelers passing game, or do you think that somebody could emerge like a Roman Wilson in his first year to go along with George Pickens?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Smokin' Joe. I would like to see, or Smokin' Jim. I'm sorry. I would like to see.
Everybody does it.
Yeah,
everybody does it. So don't worry about it. It's a common habit. My own mother did it too. She called him Smokin' John. So I mean,
yeah.
So
that wide out room. I mean, hey, Roman Wilson led Michigan last year in receptions, right? He was their go-to target. I think he's going to be a slot guy. I think he's perfect for that role. I would have liked to see them add some personnel to that wide out room, i.e. Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Adams. I mean, he even had what's his name from Denver, that Cortland Sutton would have been another. Would have been another nice addition. And who knows? I mean, Brandon Ayuk's name is still in the hat. I mean, Devontae Adams, who knows where he's going to go? It looks like he could probably sign with the Jets. I mean, there's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not real comfortable with this wideout room, to be honest with you. George Pickens.
Yeah, that's one of the weaknesses that I pointed out to with Joe, who was on earlier from Draft Nation, Joe KUKLIS. I said the wide receiver room is suspect. So I mean, I have him on my suspect pool. Okay, everyone, we're going to go to, we have added to our guest pool here today in our roundtable discussion about the Steelers and the AFC North, Mike SISZAK, who's been here before from Amped Up Sports. Mike, say hello to our new guest, Bill AIKEN, who does a show called Pittsburgh Sports Desk, and Smokin Jim on the phone. Mike, welcome to the program.
Always great to be with you, Ralph. Nice to meet you, brother. How you doing this afternoon?
Pretty good. How are you doing? Nice to meet you.
All right. All
Thank you
right. And
so
then
much.
also we have Smokin Jim by phone. Smokin Jim, say hi to Mike.
Hey, Mike, what's happening, man?
How's it going, Smokin Jim? Always good to talk to you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
We're here today to talk about the Steelers and the AFC North. Mike has some information for us. I'm bringing him on. Talk about the Baltimore Ravens a little bit. Mike, what can we expect from the Baltimore Ravens this year?
Well, we saw them go out and address probably what would have been their biggest weakness by signing Derrick Henry. That was the big free agent get. Now, there were a lot of pieces. You were just talking about the departure of Patrick Queen, which is going to be a big loss. I told you months ago that I thought, and I agree with you, that was the big free agent signing for the Steelers. I mean, that was an amazing grab. Not only did they get one of the best inside linebackers on the market, they also were able to, in the process, make the Baltimore Ravens defense a little bit weaker.
Right.
We saw the Ravens just recently sign Eddie Jackson to upgrade, to bring in and kind of upgrade that secondary, that safety room. I think that this is going to be, how far can Lamar take them? Is he able to, in the second year of this Todd Monken offense, repeat the MVP caliber form that he had last year? Will the addition of Derrick Henry as a finisher give them that added weapon that they need to get over the hump? And ultimately, the aspirations are Super Bowl. That's where they're starting. And look, I'm sorry, this is one of the toughest divisions, I think, in the NFL.
Yes. It's already been rated the number one division there, Mike and Bill and Smokin Jim. It's been rated the number one toughest division in the entire football league, I think. We have the Steelers upgraded. The Baltimore Ravens have done a little bit. Cincinnati and Cleveland. The drafts were not too bad. So, it's just looking that way. So, Mike, tell us a little bit more about Baltimore and what's in stores there. I mean, I know Lamar Jackson, quarterback Derrick Henry's helping with the running game. What's going on the rest of the way there with the Ravens?
Well, we saw them in through the draft address the offensive line. That was a bit of an issue. They picked up some tackles. We're going to see Tyler Lindboom, in whether or not how he grows into the center role in his second year. This is a make or break year for Rashad Bateman. He was a former first-round draft pick who kind of got overshadowed last year by Zay Flowers. Odell didn't contribute a ton, but he was definitely an important part of that offense. We saw Isaiah Likely emerge in the tight end spot when Mark Andrews was injured, but now you're going to have a full strength, at least to start, you're going to have a full strength Mark Andrews. As I said, they're in the second year of this offense, which really was able to, up until the AFC Championship game, tap into some of the things that Lamar does best, the way that he hides the ball, his creativity, his ability to play off script and to get the ball downfield. In Derrick Henry, they have a finisher. I mean, this is a guy who's one of the biggest running backs to ever play. And yeah, he's on the wrong side of 30, and he's probably towards the tail end of his career. But with this offense, he's not going to be asked to carry the load the same way that he was in Tennessee. What he's going to do is close out games. Get those tough yards that they need in short yardage situations, and then close out the game when they're up late. Give the ball, let Derrick run, and end the game that way. They lost some pieces on defense, so it's going to be very incumbent upon this offense to lead the way. This is a team that we're used to seeing be led by their defense. I still think the defense is great as long as you've got Kyle Hamilton back there. They still have a really, really, really strong defense, but I think a lot of more of the load is going to be on Lamar's and the offense's shoulders this year.
All right, we're going to add another guest to our panel here today, Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports as well. He's a colleague of Mike SISZAK's here, and Leo today is here to talk with us about Cleveland and Cincinnati. But first, Smokin' Jim, you have anything for Mike?
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I'm a big Harbaugh fan, whether it's Jimmy or John or the old man. But did Harbaugh lose his mind when he said that your quarterback will go down in history as the greatest of all time? Did he not see Tom Brady and Patty Mahomes and my all-time favorite, Brett Favre? Was you kind of surprised about those comments, Mike?
I think that he was given to a moment of exaggeration. But look, we have seen when Lamar Jackson is at his best, he's one of the best in the game now. He does have to get over that hump and win a Super Bowl. He has the unfortunate issue of being in league when you have Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, which has prevented him from getting there. But he's got 2 MVPs. There aren't a lot of people, Aaron Rodgers included, who can say that they have. I'm sorry, he's got two MVPs. There aren't a lot of players that can say that they have current players that have 2 MVPs. He needs to get to a Super Bowl. He needs to win one soon. Now, will he be the best of all time? I don't know. Can he easily be the best in Ravens history? Given that really it's like Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco are competition, that's
Stoney
not
Chase.
exactly the hardest bar to get over. So, yeah, easily in Ravens history, he's already the best that they've had. But he's a dynamic player. And we saw last year that this offense that he's running with Todd Monken really suits what he does best. It gives him the ability to play off script. It allows him to hide the ball. He's able to be, it's almost, when it's working right, unstoppable. You don't know whether he's going to pass, whether he's going to run. Now he can just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. You know, how do you exactly, what do you plan to stop? What is the thing that you, as a defense, you plan to stop most? I don't even look. The Kansas City Chiefs did a phenomenal job with their game plan in the AFC Championship game, but it was as much the Ravens' offense beating themselves and feeling like they had to play a game that they weren't used to. That they even though that the game was close, it was a 7-point game almost the entirety of the game. They kept playing like that they were 20 points behind. That's not what they do. So if they play their offense, they're going to be really, really hard to beat because I just don't know how you scheme all against them.
All right, let's go with Bill. Do you have any questions for Mike?
Well, I mean, what do you think about their schedule? I mean, you know, they open up on the road against the Chiefs. I mean, you got week 2, you're hosting the Raiders. Week 3, you're at the Cowboys, home to the Bills. I mean, you got a big division game right after that against the Bengals. I mean, what do you think about that schedule? I mean, that schedule's pretty brutal out the gate.
It's a brutal schedule to start with, but they had some pretty tough games last year as well. Anytime that you're playing in the tough, like we said, this is the toughest conference in the NFL right now. So that means that you're going to have to play really tough games to start with. If you are playing a first place schedule, that means that you're going to have to play the Chiefs. We saw them go on the road and win games last year. We saw them be pretty tough to beat at home. I think that they are a good enough team to navigate the schedule that they have. Will they have the top seed in the AFC again like they did last year? I don't know. I still think that they're a team that can get to 11 wins, 12 wins. Would be my forecast for them. So even with the brutality of the schedule, I think that they'll be able to navigate it. They play a brand of football that's pretty portable, and it works in a lot of different places. They're going to be a decent cold weather team. Look, Baltimore is not exactly the most clement place on the face of the planet, so they're able to play in a lot of different ways. Yeah, it's a brutal start going to the Chiefs right out the gate. But we saw the Chiefs struggle in their first game last year and lose to Detroit, which was a team that the Ravens later on absolutely housed. So they'll be as up for that because they have something to prove as a result of last year's AFC Championship game as anybody else. They really are coming out with a chip on their shoulder, and they feel like they have something to prove. They let it get away from them last year, and they want to prove that they are a championship caliber team.
All right. As soon as Leo comes back, we'll get him on to talk about the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. There's Leo. All right, he's back. Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports. Welcome, Leo. It's great to have you on. How's your camps going?
Well, finally got back, and luckily I wasn't flying Delta, or I'd still be stuck in Boston.
My guest that was supposed to be on Ray Aldo, he got stuck out on the West Coast, and he had to cancel being on today because his flight was rescheduled for 1 o'clock this afternoon, and he's on an airplane right now trying to get back to Pittsburgh. Yeah. Good luck to him, though. So, you know.
And I'll tell you what. Hey, Mike, I like the beard. Man, you got to go in there, big boy.
There you go.
Yeah, this is about a year's worth. This is about a couple of months worth of solid work here, man. Putting a lot of dedication into this beard.
My old producer Ryan used to do that on the radio station. Man, he grew a beard like skyrocket, like he almost looked like ZZ Top there for a minute, you know. So,
well, but anyway, Ralph, Leo missed me last week when I was doing the Saturday show before I got my hair done, so he didn't see me with the 2 years worth of afro out.
Yeah, I saw that. That was interesting. All right, Leo, say hello to Bill AIKEN, who does a show here called the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Say hello to Bill. And Smokin Jim on the phone. Smokin Jim, say hello to Leo.
My man Leo, what's going on, buddy?
Smokin Jim, you're still alive. I love it.
Yes, he is.
I'll tell you right now, you can't die until I tell you you can die. So you
All right, Leo, tell us a little bit about the Cleveland Browns first. We'll start with them. You know, Kevin Stefanski has a new offensive coordinator there. Alex Van Pelt has moved on. Your thoughts on Cleveland this year?
You know what? Let's just talk about offensive coordinators for a second, guys. The longest term tenure of any offensive coordinator does not go past 2021. What does that tell you about the NFL? One, offensive coordinators are stepping into head coaching jobs.
Right.
Two, you better be able to produce quickly or you're going to be looking for a job. And it's kind of funny down here with the 4 NFC South teams. 3 of them have offensive coordinators that are Sean McVay disciples. And Cleveland, real simple. Deshaun Watson has to stay healthy for 17 games, and we've got to see what Deshaun Watson that came into the league. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to have a good season, and that's going to be the key. Can the offensive coordinator and Deshaun Watson mesh? Because without that, you know, we saw, you know, they were able to, you know, basically Rube Goldberg that offense together once he got hurt. But you know what? That offense is built for Deshaun Watson. He needs to get healthy. He needs to stay healthy. And then that offense needs to click.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I also, they lost their offensive line coach and Bill Callahan. Callahan is a great offensive line coach all across the NFL. And, you know, and all the jobs he's had. He was a Kentucky head coach, though. And he stunk at Nebraska when he coached in college. But he's a great, you know, assistant coach and all that. And they lost him as well. Smokin Jim, you have anything for Leo?
Yeah, I agree with Leo. I mean, Cleveland's loaded defensively. The running back, you know, Cribb come back healthy. They're going to be good. It all comes down to how far they can go in the playoffs with the quarterback.
Right. I also agree, too. Kevin Stefanski seems to screw things up in the playoffs. And, you know, he has this attitude that he thinks his doo-doo don't stink. And
he's the coach of the year, Ralph.
Yeah, right. Coach of the year, my you know what. You know what I mean? I'm going to use the same. I'm gonna use the same from Bar Rescue when the when the bar guy for John Taffer was teaching this bartender. He said Vegas bartender my ass. Well, guess what? Coach of the year my ass. Okay, so there you go. All right, Leo, tell us a little bit about the Cincinnati Bengals. Bungles, we call them here. What's your thoughts on the Bengals this year, Leo?
You know what? It's the same story, but just different actors. And it's all going to depend on Joe Burrow. And he's
Right.
healthy. And they've got Jason line, but I'll tell you what, you better figure out what to do with T. Higgins. Because, you know, in the NFL. I don't know what they're thinking here. They got the greatest 1-2 punch with receivers there with Chase and Higgins. Let's be honest. What is somebody passing gas there or what?
I don't know, man. I don't know where that noise is coming from. I have no clue. I don't know. It's been going on throughout the entire broadcast. I don't know where it's coming from. So.
I tell you, when you look at Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, it all starts and stops with him. But they were one play away. And if anybody ever saw that last play of the Super Bowl, when Ramsey fell down and Chase is running alone down there.
Right.
And the Rams better give Aaron Donald a piece of that Super Bowl to take home, because if he doesn't get to Joe Burrow when he got there, it's a whole different
game. Yeah.
Now you're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals winning the Super Bowl, because Ramsey falls down. There's nobody there. Burrow just didn't have time to throw it.
Oh yeah, Smokin' Jim. Any comments? Bill, any comments for Leo? Yeah, we'll start with you, Bill.
I just want to ask you about Stefanski and Deshaun Watson. I've said it on my show before. I don't know that that's a good marriage, if you will. It kind of seems to me like Stefanski has the philosophy, and I know, you have obviously an offensive coordinator and everything like that, but Stefanski has a lot of say so in the offense. Seems to me like he likes the dink and dunk philosophy. When you look at Deshaun Watson and when he was at Houston, I mean, he throws bombs down the field. And I just don't know if those two are on the same page. What do you think about that? Am I crazy or?
No, you're not crazy. I think Stefanski is a run first, pass second guy. And again, when you're coaching in Cleveland, you better be able to play and win it, because you're going to have a lot of games where you're not going to be able to throw the ball down the field as much as you want. What I'd like to see happen in Cleveland is for them to establish the run, because they've got the people up front to do that. These guys are road graders. You make the defense put 6 in the box. They can throw it. If they're going to put 5 in the box, it's hard to throw against, 6 guys back there, especially if they're only going to put 4 in the box. Then you got 7. So the biggest thing is to establish the run, so the defense has to honor the run. Because if they don't and they just keep coming and there's no thought of, they're going to run the ball or they're going to do this. And dink and dunk isn't bad, because you're getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly and getting it to somebody who can do something with it. The problem is in Cleveland, there's not a whole lot of guys that can do anything with it at the wide receiver spots right now. They got to come up with some offensive play calling that's going to get these guys open, so there's some yak. And again, for your listeners, yards after catch. Because if they catch it and they get hit, it's going to be a long season. They got to get these guys some running room.
Absolutely. Okay. Smokin' Jim, you have any comments about Cincinnati for Leo?
Yeah, hey Leo. Each of the last 4 years, I think Joe Burrow's gotten injured. Do you think he can stay healthy, or you think he might be a little bit injury prone?
Well, I never met an NFL player that wanted to get injured. You know, it's the nature of the beast that sometimes you're in a position where a guy hits you and boom, there it goes. I mean, look at what happened to Brown when Burfict hit him. My God, I think that rattled his chain forever. So you know what? You got to be careful with these quarterbacks because when they go past the line of scrimmage, they better know how to slide because these defensive backs around blood when they see a quarterback running down the field. Now, if it's Lamar Jackson, as Mike SISZAK brought out, hey,
Yes.
that's a whole different animal down there. You better come up and make a tackle. But if it's Joe Burrow, if it's, Deshaun Watson, these aren't the biggest guys in the world. They aren't in there to run the ball. It's not part of their modus operandi. But Joe Burrow's got to stay healthy. And to stay healthy, you got to have a running game.
And an offensive line, Leo. Their offensive line has been horrible over the years for Cincinnati. Yeah. It killed them in the Super Bowl. Aaron Donald ate their lunch. So, I mean, and it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah, Aaron Donald eats a lot of people's lunch. So,
hey, Leo.
Is it not
Hey, Leo.
Going to double team because they're going to rush 4. You got 5 to block. Somebody can double team. But the thing is, and this is what I keep telling people in Chicago when they're talking about, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl with Caleb Williams. Guys, doesn't happen. You don't do it with quarterbacks because that game just sped up exponentially from what he had happened. And, my brother Tom brought this up. Said Caleb Williams' biggest problem is he's not going to have 4 or 5 seconds like he did at Southern Cal to survey the field. It's going to be snap, get it out of your hands in a hurry because these guys are coming, and when they get there, they arrive in ill humor, don't they, Mike SISZAK?
All right, Mike, go ahead with your whatever you were going to say.
Leo, one of the biggest losses for the Cincinnati Bengals was Joe Mixon signing with the Texans.
Yes.
That was a well over 1,000-yard running back and a keeper. They think that they can go and replace him by committee, but he definitely was somebody who could take a lot of pressure off of Joe Burrow and the quarterback with his ability to get yards. How much do you think that they're going to miss him? And did they do good enough to try and replace what he gives them?
You know what, Mike? You bring up a great point here because right now in the NFL, coaches think that running backs and wide receivers are not that important, that this scheme will get them.
Oh, that's bull.
That's bull. I mean, watch what's going to happen in Philly now that they have an every down running back.
Yes.
What happens in Baltimore now that they've got a guy who, and again, Steve Barcartapone, who covers the Tennessee Titans, when he was asked, when you got to make a tackle on Henry in the 4th quarter, are you making a business decision? He goes, no, you're making a retirement decision.
You got that right.
So, yeah, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a fun division to watch because the NFC South and the AFC North, I think come December, there's going to be 3 teams you can throw a blanket over that are all going to be within 1 or 2 games. In fact, in the AFC North, who's the daggone, if you're playing musical chairs, who's the first team?
That's it, yeah.
Well, everybody's saying Pittsburgh, but I'll tell you what, I think Russell's going to cook this year. And that's going to be a whole different dynamic because this division beats each other up 6 times. Just Cincinnati playing Pittsburgh playing Baltimore, Cleveland playing all 3 of them. It's a war. It is a real war. And somebody asked me one time, what's it like a difference between high school and college and the pros? Well, I said, in high school, you have a winner and a loser. In the college game, you have a survivor. In the NFL, everybody's beat to hell. That's why you got to take Tuesday off. Just to survive.
Oh, yeah. All right, Mike, thanks for being on the program. Appreciate it, talking about the Baltimore Ravens. And we'll have you come on again as always. Mike, it was great having you on. And we might have you back on the Bum Show as well on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. So
well, this Saturday I'm going to be down in Texas, but catch me again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I will. I'm trying to get Ray Fittipaldo on, but like I said, he got jammed up today down in the West Coast. He promised me to be on one of these Saturdays with us on the External Bum Show. Hey, Bill, you can come on the External.
Looking forward to it. Have a good one as always, gentlemen. Leo, great to see you. Bill, nice to meet you. Always
nice to meet
you,
you, Mike.
Smokin, Jim, and Ralph. Have a great one.
You too. Thank you. All right. Well, Mike just went off the air, Smokin, Jim. Sorry. So, but anyway. All right, Leo, thank you for talking about the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals. Bill, your thoughts on what Leo had to say, and do you have any questions for him in regards to the Bengals?
Oh no, I mean I agree with him. This AFC North is going to be it's going to be a war, and here's the thing: you got a ton of divisional games in the second half of the season. I mean, just look at the Steelers' schedule.
Right.
So that's going to be. In late December, and that's going to be you're jockeying for position at that point. So it's going to be, it is going to be a war, for no doubt about it. So.
All right, Leo, thanks for being part of the program today. Talking to us about the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals, and we'll have you back on again. And Saturday. Oh, okay. So Saturday you will be on for the External Bum or no?
Yeah, I'll be on Saturday morning with you, big boy.
All right, good. Talk to you Saturday morning for the External Bum Show with me, Leo Haggerty, Scott Morgan-Roth, and our new co-host, Jeremy Ballrick, also joins us every Saturday. And sometimes we have a guest on, and we may have Bill come on Saturday. We'll see. All right. Thank you, Leo, for being part of the program. And now we're going to get back into some Steeler talk. We already did all the AFC North stuff, but we're going to add to our panel. Bubba Brewer just showed up here. Bubba is brought to you in part by Alex's Flowers. Call Alex today for all your flower needs. 30 years in the business, 412-661-6071, located in the Morningside section of the city of Pittsburgh. Give Alex a call today. Look, Alex did the flower arrangement for my wedding. He did the flower arrangement for my nephew's funeral. He did the flower arrangement for anything in my family. So I tell you what, Alex's Flowers is the best in the business of doing flower arrangements. You need one for a funeral, wedding, even for your sweetheart. Give Alex a call. He even has delivery. 412-661-6071. Alex's Flowers. All right, Bubba, welcome to the program. Bubba, before we get into the Steeler talk, huh?
Thanks for having me.
Bubba. Oh, you're welcome anytime. You're welcome here anytime. We have a new guest to the show, Bill AIKEN from the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Bill, say hello to Bubba Brewer, who also is a wrestling promoter.
How's it going, Bubba? Nice to meet you, man.
You too, sir.
All right, Bubba, tell the audience a little bit about your podcast. You have the Steeler Dynasty podcast and a few others, right?
Well, I do, but I was listening to all you guys, and my podcast is just about since I love the Steelers, and I'm all pro, going into this season, and right. I'm a diehard, and I take them every time, but I know you got to look at the nooks and crannies of the upcoming season, and I know you got to, pick what you got to pick here. So hopefully, we can get in the playoffs and win a playoff game. So,
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Smokin' Jim, say hello to Bubba.
Hey, my main man, Bubba, what's happening?
Hey, Smokin' Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing great, buddy.
All right. That static noise that we had must have came from Leo's connection, because I changed my headset and it seemed to get a little bit away. And as soon as Leo got off the air, everything was fine now, nice and clear and crisp. I don't know what happened with his connection, but sometimes
the government is tapping in on Leo.
There you go. There. All right.
Well, he's a Browns fan, so I mean, come on.
Well, that's why.
He's not a Browns fan. Actually, he just reports for he does the for Amped Up Sports. Actually, his main base is Tampa. He a lot of times I bring him on to talk about the Buccaneers. So hey, everybody, I wanted to tell you something. Did you hear? I just found out the real reason why John Gruden left Tampa Bay. You want to know why?
Why, Ralph?
Because Corn was a Buccaneer.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's
Good.
almost as bad as my divorce court joke for the Pirates. Yeah. But you know what? The Pirates are doing way better than what they've normally done. So, yeah, I can put that in the closet for right now, the divorce court joke. So, but anyway. All right. Also, we have a guest coming up shortly here, which we're going to get him up right now as well. From Draft Nation. His colleague Joe KUKLIS was on earlier. We have JT TOTH from Draft Nation. JT, welcome to the program.
Hey, welcome, guys. What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Hey,
You're welcome, JT.
What's
Bubba
up,
Brewer
Bubba?
here. Bill AIKEN from the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, new guest to the show. Say
Nice
hello
to
to
meet
Bill.
you. Nice to meet you, Bill. Nice to see you again, Bubba. Nice to see you,
You
Bubba.
too. You too.
And also on phone, Smokin Jim Frazier. Smokin Jim, say hello to JT. We got a big time lineup here today, boy. I booked
JT, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's up, Smokin Jim? I heard somebody call you Smokin Joe earlier, so I want to.
Yeah, that was
I've
bad.
done that
Yeah,
too.
that was me.
I did it the first time too, so I'm part of that list, man. I done it.
You know what, JT? It was hilarious. I said to my mom, because my mom prays a lot and goes to church and all that, and I said, "Can you pray for Smokin Jim? He's in the hospital." So about 3 or 4 days later, after Smokin Jim got out of the hospital, she said, "How's he doing? How's Smokin John doing?" I said, "Smokin." And
I
Al
get
Levine-
Smokin Joe. We get that from the boxing.
Yeah, I get that too. Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, Smokin Jim, before we get back into Steeler talk, your thoughts on the fight this weekend between Perry and Jake Paul?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's a preview for when Jake Paul knocks out Iron Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson,
in November, man. I tell you what, man. Them boys from Cleveland is like them boys from Pittsburgh, man. They're rough, man. They come to fight, and Jake Paul's a young man in his prime. I think I would rank him in the top 10 cruiserweights in the whole world. And I think if Mike Tyson's ulcer flare clears up, he's going to be in a world of trouble against Jake Paul.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I like Mike Tyson's experience in this fight, and I think he's going to teach Jake Paul a lesson. Somebody needs to teach both of them a lesson. You know what I mean? Because they're both, nothing but a bunch of show-offs and don't deserve to be in the sports world. Stay on social media. Leave everybody else alone. That's the way I see it. No pun intended. But anyway, all right. JT is brought to you in part by Robin Cable Insurance, 412-366-3399. That's 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Insurance. Call today. He covers all kinds of insurance for your house, renters, if you need insurance for your car. I tell you, he'll get you the best rates around, farmers and from Bristol West. And get this, you can actually talk to him on the phone, not some customer service person who don't know your name. He will actually answer the phone and talk with you. He doesn't have a secretary, and he's already been to my house when I used to have a house years ago. That's just how long I've been with Robin Campbell. Robin Campbell Insurance. Call today, 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Insurance. We have a bunch of new sponsors here, guys, on this program here. Also, I want to talk today about Keystone Coachworks. I have purchased a van. I am handicapped in a wheelchair, and I've purchased a van from Keystone Coachworks. And if you're handicapped and you want a better lifestyle, you need to go to Keystone Coachworks. Talk to Dawn. Tell Dawn Ralph Williams sent you at Keystone Coachworks, 412-833-1900. Make an appointment. He has the best vehicles around for your needs. He will custom fit your vehicle if you need one. If you're handicapped like I am in a wheelchair and life is not good and you want to make it better, get a wheelchair accessible van. Financing available as well. I don't deal with any company that doesn't have financing or some kind of nice arrangement. And I only deal with companies on here that are willing and able. So, all right. Let's get started here, JT and Bubba. We were talking earlier. We just had Leo Haggerty and Mike SISZAK on. Mike was on to talk about Baltimore, and we had Leo Haggerty on to talk about Cleveland and Cincinnati. First, Bubba, your thoughts, AFC North Division.
Well, like I said before, when you asked me, I'm taking Pittsburgh. I don't care how they get in, as long as they get in. I hate the Ravens, so I have nothing good. I have nothing good to say about them. And the only thing I like from Cleveland is the Canton Football Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I'm just being honest. In Cincinnati, I just want to drive right through it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, JT, your thoughts on the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens?
they're all tough, man. It's the toughest division in football by far and away. It's been like that for I would say the good part of the last 10 years. The AFC North has been the toughest division in football, and they all have helped each other out. I mean, Cincinnati's improved. I thought Baltimore lost Patrick Queen, but I think they still improved. Getting Derrick Henry, it's going to be a handful for teams. You got Henry and Lamar Jackson to deal with. And Cleveland, to me, I think that would be the one team I would put Pittsburgh ahead of on paper right now. I don't trust Deshaun Watson. Never been a big Watson fan. I think that was a disgrace of a contract that a lot of teams are paying for, and we're going to be paying for it the rest of our lives watching these quarterbacks.
That's going to be like
quarterback.
a
It is. These contracts are just going to keep going up and up and up and up. I mean, every time a new quarterback signs, it's gonna break the record, and that all started with Watson. So, it's a great division, man. I mean, this division, I think all 4 teams could go 9-8. I would not be, just like last year, I would not be shocked if all 4 teams had a winning record.
Oh yeah, the Steelers have a very difficult schedule this year. They have some back-to-back games and whatnot. It's tough. Bill, your thoughts on? Well, we had Leo in them on, but your thoughts on the schedule this year for the Steelers?
Oh, it's brutal. I mean, that Christmas. I mean, that turnaround. What do you have? 4 days, I think.
Yes.
I mean, it's insane. And then, as I alluded to earlier, you have a ton of division games in that second half, and I mean, at that point in time, you're going to be jockeying for position. And I mean, hey, I think it's the tale of the quarterbacks. I think you got to have a healthy Deshaun Watson. You got to have a healthy Joe Burrow. You got to have a healthy
Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Yeah.
You got to have a healthy Lamar Jackson as well,
Right. Smokin' Jim, any thoughts, Smokin' Jim?
Well, like I predicted the day they signed Russell Wilson, that the Pittsburgh Steelers will go to the Super Bowl this year. Not sure if they win it, but they're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I'm sure that makes Bubba happy.
Yeah, it does. I actually bet that, and Wilson will be the MVP on FanDuel. I actually did that.
All right. I'm going to say this again. I said it once. I'll say it again. If the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, I don't care if they win or lose. If they go to the Super Bowl, I will do all my shows naked.
Well, that's ratings, Ralph. That's ratings.
Yeah, it is ratings, because I know someone who did a naked show, and they had people constantly just viewing them all the time because it was naked. So I mean, but I will. Hey, Smokin' Jim knows me, man. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. You know what I mean? So
That's true.
so But anyway, I'll do all my shows naked, including the new TV show where we're back on TV starting August 1st. So I mean, so there we are with that. All right, let's talk about the preseason schedule. I know a lot of people don't even care about preseason because it's just nothing but a bunch of rookies. But we start off August 9th, 7 o'clock against the Texans. The Texans had a really good season this year. They were in the playoffs. I know it's preseason, but I know the Texans are looking to make some hay. Let's go around the board. Bill, your thoughts on the Texans this is preseason, but your thoughts on the Texans and the Steelers.
Well, I mean, I want to see how much Russell plays in that game. I don't know how, I really want to see that. In Fields as well. How much time are they going to get? Are they going to, is it going to kind of be like Ben, like, hey, I'm only going to play, 2
one
series. Yeah,
right.
1 or 2 series and I'm out. Or, you got a new offensive coordinator. You got a lot of new pieces. Are they going to? Is he going to stay in there longer? I think it's going to dictate how camp goes and the flow of camp. And I mean that's probably as good as opponent as any to go up against in week 1.
All right, JT.
Yeah, I mean you're not gonna see nothing. I mean you're gonna see Kyle Allen probably take more snaps than any other quarterback that day. That's just the way. Yeah. That's the way exhibition games are.
Brought in from Central Florida.
Plumlee. They gave him a record, team record bonus. So he must have something. They 35,000 was the team record for undrafted rookie bonus. But to talk about Houston, Houston's probably. My 2 teams that are the most up and coming are easy to talk about. It's Houston and Detroit. I think both of them teams are exciting to watch. Houston's going to be very exciting for years to come. I mean, Stroud's the real deal. You're not
Right.
going to see him. You probably won't even see him go under center in
No.
at that first game. So, I agree to what they're saying. I want to see what the Steelers package wise are going to do with Wilson and Fields. I think Fields should be part of some kind of packages. I mean, whether it be, hey, we went three drives in a row, 3 and outs or whatever, we were struggling. Let's bring Fields in for a spark. You know, I mean, I think when you have a guy like Fields that could break a 80-yard run anytime he's on the field, you have to you almost got to get back to the, I'm not saying the slash days, but the Steelers got to be creative in the way they.
Antoine Randall. I mean, he was the slash kind of guy. If they can make Fields like that, that'd be good. And I hear they have a fullback on the roster, so let's see what that fullback does.
Yeah, if you're a defense and you're sitting back ready for Russell Wilson, and all of a sudden you got Justin Fields coming in. I mean, that's a little scary. You gotta make defenses have to plan for both guys. That's what I say.
Scratch your head, you know. So I mean, you know, that was Bubba. Your thoughts?
Last year when we played the Texans, we got out coached, we got outplayed. Like JT said, that team is up and coming. But also too, we're not going to see anybody in this first game, but I want to see some consistency. And I know you guys talked about the second position receiver. I want to see somebody come up, because I don't think we're going to make a trade. I believe we're going to run the football. I'm okay with that because I'm old school. So I got that old school mentality. And we're not going to see a lot of star Steeler players in that first game, and probably for the rest of the training camp. So these younger guys, Wilson's, the linemen, definitely Mr. Frazier coming in and behind center, behind, anybody is great because he's starting, and this draft class was great. So, I mean, I can't wait because it's already the exciting part of it, because tomorrow's training camp, and I know we're all ready to go. Every podcast is ready. So it's just you're going to see something. And I want to see how Fields and Russell Wilson interact down there on camp, on how they, if Wilson gives Fields a little bit of tutelage. I want to see that. Yeah. So I that's what I'm really, really looking forward to at training camp.
Right. Exactly. Guys, let's go on to, Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on the first preseason game and get ready for training camp.
Well, I tell you what, as usual, Bubba makes some great points. Everybody's down on this Roman Wilson, putting him in the slot. But, hey, listen, he's the exact same size as Antonio Brown, Santonio Holmes, Deontay Johnson,
right,
and Louis Lips. And Louis Lips was NFL Rookie of the Year and first-team All-Pro as a rookie. So I'm not giving up on the idea that this guy can't be your number 2 receiver and be very productive as a rookie.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Smokin'. Jim came from the Michigan program, and, Jim Harbaugh there. And, so we'll see. I think I agree with you 100% on that. They're going to have to do something and get somebody in there as a second receiver behind George Pickens. All right. Next, the Bills, the Buffalo Bills versus Steelers, August 17th. That's a home game. And then we go away against the Lions. I'll be picking around with my buddy up in Detroit there, Jeremy Ballrick, about the Lions, because he covers the Lions. Your thoughts? We'll start with you, Bubba. Your thoughts on these the Bills and the Lions?
Well, I mean, it's great to play in the preseason. If you can't see anybody, you'll get some good tickets. And we all know they're not going to be TJ Watt. We're not going to see TJ Watt, so we're not going to see any of these guys. So these young guys,
Peyton Wilson. That's who I want to see.
Yes,
Peyton Wilson.
And I want to see. I want to see some of these. I want to see Mr. Washington come in as a player as a tight end. I want to see different formations.
Yes.
And I want to see. I don't know. Maybe Corey Trice comes back from injury to make this team. Do we see that? I mean, there's a lot of compelling stories that's going to be starting in this training camp. So it's just going to be good just to go see a game, but you don't have to worry about it too much because you just want to see these guys get some reps. So
it's going to be like wrestling, Bubba, the storyline.
Yeah, the storyline. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Exactly. Yeah. Bill, your thoughts on,
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not going to see a lot of starters. I agree. I want to see I want to see Zach Frazier. I'd like to see him get a lot of time. I want to see what you got with Fountain. I can never pronounce the name. Fatano.
Fatano, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Roman Wilson. I mean, this is this is the time that these guys can showcase their talents. And Another guy I'd like to see on defense is Herbig. I want to see Herbig step in there and see what he can do.
Yes, absolutely. It's his time. I think it's his time to start to step up and give him some more reps. JT.
Yeah, I like to. I want to see the young guys play. I want to see how this offensive line starts to mither. I mean, you got three real young guys. You're only veterans at the guard position with Daniels and Samalu. So I mean, you got a really young line, but I mean that line has a toe. We haven't had this much upside on our offensive line in years. I like to see how they perform. But then again, you're not going to see. You're probably going to see Fatanu for like a series or two. They're not going to get anybody hurt. That's the only thing I hate about exhibition games is you're going to see these second, third guys. You're going to see guys like Des Fitzpatrick as a receiver. Guys like maybe step up. Maybe that third running back will step up like LaMichael Green.
I like
Green.
the
Edwards signing from Georgia was a good undrafted free agent. So maybe that's what I want to see, stuff like that. And I want to see Arthur Smith's offense start to evolve. See if I think Freiermuth is set for a big year. I know last year he had only 32 catches and it was his off year.
Yeah, so do I.
I think Freiermuth, and he already brought up Darnell, don't call me Denzel Washington. So all the time. He has the potential to be a weapon if they use him the right way. And I mean, he's got the athleticism and he's 6'7". I think his offense, it may not be receiver strong, but I do like Roman Wilson. I don't think Van Jefferson should ever be named as a second receiver. I think he's a perfect third receiver. He's been like that his whole career, but I think this offense is better than people think it's going to be. I mean, especially if this offensive line starts to click early, it's going to be scary for teams to have to worry about our run game because our run game did well last year with some holes on the line.
All right, Super 8 by Wyndham, Grove City. Look, if you're going to Grove City to the outlet mall, or if you want to go check out Volant, which is an Amish area, stay at the Super 8 Grove City, 724-602-4267. Stay there. I got to tell you, the price was right. My wife and I stayed there for a week. The place was clean. The hospitality of the staff, and we only paid a little over $400 for a whole week to stay there. I got to tell you, go to the Super 8 Grove City if you're on a budget. If you don't want to pay the expensive prices in Erie and you're on some kind of a budget, go to Grove City, check out the Grove City Outlet Mall, and then head out to Erie or whatever you're going to do. And I got to tell you, the Super 8 Grove City, even if you're on a stop and you're on a trip, so stop there, get a room, tell them Ralph Williams sent you. Clean rooms, great personality, great hospitality. I got to tell you, it was a great stay. Super 8 by Wyndham, Grove City, 724-602-4267, Super 8 Grove City. All right, let's get back here to our Steelers special here on Sports Corner. Our studio sponsor, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-201-0500. Call Mata today. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. JT, Bubba, how long do I have you guys for? How long do you guys need?
I'm good, brother. I just the gym's open 24/7. I'm good.
Okay.
I got a good like 5-10 minutes. I promised somebody I'd meet him for dinner, so I got 5-10 minutes.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure I'm not going over your time scale.
No,
Bill said he'd stay on for the whole show, so that's good for him, being he's our new guest here. And hey, Bill, tell everybody a little bit about Pittsburgh Sports Desk, your show.
Okay, so we've been doing it for 2 years. It's myself and two other guys. We all served together in the Army.
Wow.
All Pittsburghers. Yeah, appreciate it. All Pittsburghers. Ed's a transplant. He's been a Pittsburgher for 25 years. He's originally from D.C., so he brings in a little bit flair, so to speak. But we mix it up a little bit with Ed. But we've had some good guests. We've had Tim Worley on the show, Mike LaValliere.
Yeah, I had Tim Worley. Yes, so did I. Yes.
Spanky LaValliere joined us. Terry Hanratty, Bill Hillgrove joined us as well. We got some other guests lined up in the future coming on. A couple ex-Penguins that are going to be joining us. But we really have a fun time. We cover everything. I mean, we Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, Pitt. We even get a little bit into the Passion and the Riverhounds, believe it or not. So,
unfortunately, Bill, the Passion don't seem to have a problem returning my phone calls and my emails. I don't know what happened there, but it seems like they have a bad habit of returning my phone calls and my emails. So I don't. I only give the score, and unfortunately, 47-0 loss to Boston last weekend was not a great score. But you know what? I will broadcast that because they lost 47-0. So to Boston. So there you go in their playoff game. So, but anyway, all right, guys, let's get back to the Steeler talk here for a moment. Training camp storylines. Let's start with you, JT. What storyline are you interested in?
I think Bubba mentioned. I want to see if Corey Trice is the real deal. I think that'll go a long way to help our cornerback situation. I think we're a little weak at the cornerback spot still, especially with it's going to slip my mind. Sutton, Cam Sutton. Yeah, Cam Sutton missing 8 games and
suspended, right?
So I think if Corey Trice is what they said he was last year, which they were so high on the kid, that's big for me. And the other one, like I said before, is that these young guys on the offensive line meshing. I mean, if you're hearing good things in training camp, like, man, these, Fatanu and Jones are bookends that, are amazing. And then you got Frazier in the middle with the 2 veteran guards. I think this team could go as far as they lead them. I think the running game is going to get you to, they had 2,000 yards rushing this year. I think they could definitely, they were only 13th in the league in rushing. I think they could improve on that. With the 2 guys they got. And I already talked about, I want to see how Arthur Smith uses the tight ends. I think that, I think Freiermuth needs to prove like that 2nd round pick wasn't a waste. And I think he has a talent to do it. I think a guy like Freiermuth and a guy like Calvin Austin, I don't think you can't really give them grades on the last couple of years because the quarterback's been so bad. I mean, because you heard the same thing about Calvin Austin in training camp last year, like amazing. But then, Kenny Pickett just didn't seem to have it in games. So we didn't get to see anything from Calvin Austin. But I think Austin could be the but nobody really brings up. It's usually Van Jefferson and Roman Wilson as our 2-3 receiver. But I think I wouldn't be shocked to see Calvin Austin become a bigger player, honestly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They brought him in for speed. Bubba, storyline. Which one do you like?
Well, there's a lot of storylines that JT brought into, but honestly, we haven't even talked about the defensive line. The defensive line. Well, I don't know how bad it is.
Right.
But we need some defensive lines to stop the run. That's been our Achilles heel for the last couple of years. So, I mean, Keanu Benton comes up big, stays healthy. I want to see where Mr. Loudermilk is. I don't even know. He might not even make the team because I know I said something last year. It all depends. But also
I think Llewell's going to get cut.
Well, I don't know. They don't have depth, Ralph. So they can't be cutting everybody. I mean, I look at Martavius Adams. I mean, he signed. He was playing good. I mean, they signed for $2 million. I mean, he still made a team again, which I can't believe it. But they need that defensive line to stop the run in the AFC North because it's going to be okay. Yeah. I mean, Batman's coming. I mean, that could tell the tale in this whole defense this whole season, especially in these 8 games where I think they could go 4-4 or 5-3. Like I'm predicting them to upset Kansas City on Christmas Day. That's my gift from Santa Claus to me. I'm taking that, and I'm saying that right now, JT. I'm not even messing around. Smokin' Jim, I'm not messing around right now. I said it now, way early.
All right, Smokin' Jim storyline. It's training camp.
I think the biggest storyline is going to be how quickly Broderick Jones settles into his home at right tackle. I think that Dan Moore, again, will go into his 4th year as the starting left tackle. I think the
open door Moore.
I think Fu will be a future left guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that let's go with Frazier as the starting center. But I think this is Dan Moore's Pro Bowl season at left tackle.
All right, Bill, your storyline.
Well, one storyline that is kind of big to me is Cam Hayward. I mean, turning 35, coming off a major core and groin surgery. What's gonna happen to him? I think he's second largest cap hit for the team. I think what is it, 22.4 million, I believe.
Right.
I tell you what, last year the run defense suffered a little bit when he wasn't in there. So I don't know. I mean, that's a big question for me. Is he going to bounce back, and is he going to be productive in 2024? And then I got to go with the quarterbacks. I mean, I want to see I want to see what happens there. I want to see how the offenses are run. Arthur Smith. I mean, he wants to
That
utilize
was
more
gonna be
tight
my
ends.
storyline. I wanted to see what Arthur Smith was going to do this year. That's a big
Yeah,
thing, you know.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to choose from. So, for
All
sure.
right. Oh, absolutely. JT, how much more time do we have for you?
I can go one more round, one more
One
question.
more round? One
Yeah,
more question? Okay,
yeah.
great.
My
All
buddy
right.
will wait for me. You can wait for me
Okay.
for dinner.
Training camp phenom. And that's somebody that you wouldn't expect to make the team. Let's start with you, Bill.
Oh, geez. I want to see. I'm going to say Loudermilk. I think he's going to. A lot of people are saying he's going to get cut. I heard Leal as well thrown in there. I want to see a big camp from Loudermilk. He's kind of, he's really hasn't done much, since they drafted him. I want to see him have a big camp and make this team this year. So
My
I
camp
don't know.
phenom is Brendan Fedora. I want to see what he's going to do. They had him on the team. They brought him in from the LA Chargers. He didn't do anything. They didn't even play him. Somehow or another, he ended up on the practice squad. I don't know why. He's good at the run. He's a big dude. He can clog up the hole and everything else. He's kind of like a Casey Hampton type. He's a big guy. I don't know what happened here last year with him, but he's back on the team this year, and I hope that they use him a little bit more than they did last year, if at all. Bubba, you're a camp phenom.
Well, he's got to make it to camp. I don't know if he's healthy cleared, but Cole Holcomb just to even make the team.
Yeah. That's a question mark right there too, Bubba. Yes, it is. Cole Holcomb. Yeah, I'm hearing stories they're going to cut him and take his salary and go somewhere or get somebody with it or whatever. But anyway, Smokin' Jim, you're a camp phenom.
Plumlee! I tell you what, man, the fans is gonna love him. I loved him all through his college career. He's only 5'11", but I tell you what, one of the best baseball players, a 4-year starter in college, 4-year starting quarterback, natural born leader. The fans is gonna love his crew cut. And I tell you what, man, he runs like a brother. 4.4, 40 speed. Man, this guy's no joke.
Plumlee, there you go. Oh yeah, I heard some good stories about him. JT, you're a camp phenom.
Mine's going to be Des Fitzpatrick. He was a 4th-round pick in 2021. That's basically back in the time I started doing my my scouting with football, and I liked him. He's a Louisville receiver. Got drafted by the Titans. Titans have had some up and down quarterback issues. I think with the receiver room being a little bit wide open this year, I think Des Fitzpatrick might step in and be that number 4 receiver that, makes some big catches like an Allen Robinson sort of did last year, making just some catches over the middle that you forget about him even being in the lineup. But I think he could be that kind of guy. I want to say 6'2", 208, decent speed. I think he's never been used the right way. Maybe the Steelers find a way to use him.
All right. This next segment is brought to you in part by the original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, University Boulevard, 412-264-4444. Stop by, either take out or if you live in the Moon area, there's delivery. And also, don't forget you can eat in as well. They got some great, authentic arcade games, Galactica, Pac-Man, some of that stuff there. If you like those kind of games and you want to sit down and enjoy a pizza. Also, check out their Double Stack Tuesday. They give you 2 pizzas for the price of 1. And also, if you mention Ralph Williams or Sports Corner, you get a discount on your order. Hey, why not? The original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township. Call them today, 412-264-4444. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you and you'll get a discount on your order. And that includes the Double Stack Pizza as well. All right, guys. All right, JT, thank you for being part of the program. I don't want you to miss your you know,
See you, JT.
supper with your friend there and all that.
Yep.
But
Nah,
have
no,
yourself a great one.
Hey, thank you,
And
guys.
we'll talk
Good-
to you some
good-
other time. JT, I want to connect with you or Joe. I don't know if you guys in Draft Nation have anybody that can do some editing for me, and I'll pay them. You know, so I want to get in touch with you or Joe in that regard. All
No
right.
problem. Hey,
All right.
Bubba, Bill, great meeting you.
Yep.
All right.
Smoke,
JT.
Yep.
I'll be in
JT.
touch.
Smokin' Jay. I'm gonna call you
Japanese.
Smokin' Jay. If I say Smokin' Jay, I can't be wrong. So Smokin' Jay. Have a good one.
There you go.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah,
All right,
JT.
have a great one. Thank you. JT Toth from the Draft Nation. All right, Bubba, Bill, Smokin' Jim. Let's move on here on our Steelers special. All right, we're going to go around here and get your thoughts or whatever your opinions are on what the Steelers might do this year. Bubba, we'll start with you.
Well, what do you? I just want to see us win a playoff.
Whatever you want to do.
I just want to get into the playoffs and win a playoff game. That's what I want to see first. That's all I want to see all year. The storyline is going to be us getting to the playoffs.
Right, exactly. That is it. Bill.
I mean, I agree with Bubba. I mean, Tomlin, he's 3-8, I think, right now in the postseason.
Oh, yeah,
You know?
poor, horrible postseason record. I call mediocre Mike, Bill. So,
Right.
They are, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough schedule. I mean, they didn't do them justice when it comes to that. But, they need to get in the playoff. They need to win a playoff game. I mean, they got in last year and were embarrassed by Buffalo. But, they need to get in and I want to see it.
They're getting involved up in New York,
Yeah.
So
I want to see the offense. I want to see this offense, put some points on the board. And I mean, you got an upgrade at quarterback. I mean, Kenny Pickett, 24 starts, 13 touchdowns. I mean, you got an upgrade, in the quarterback room for sure. But yeah, I'm with Bubba. I want to see him win a playoff game.
All right, Smokin' Jim.
I tell you what, I just want to see one of the defensive backs, maybe Benny Bishop.
Yeah, Beanie Bishop. Yes, Beanie Bishop.
I don't care nothing about Cam Sutton. This is my job now. I ain't leaving here. You know what I mean? That's what the great ones do. Listen, this is an opportunity. You got 8 games, to win that starting job. It ain't Cam Sutton's. I want somebody to step in and say, "This is my job." And maybe Benny Bishop is
Beanie Bishop. You know what? Shane will get you for that. West Virginia.
He loves his West Virginia boys.
Oh yeah, Beanie Bishop. Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? He was the one when I was watching your show, Bubba. He was the one that said, "Look out for Beanie Bishop."
Oh yeah, he's all about Bishop. He's all about Frazier.
Frazier,
He said Bishop's going to make the team, and don't be surprised, Smokin' Jim says, probably starting for those first 8 games.
Yeah, that's the next question I have is at center. Will Zach Frazier be the starter, or is Tomlin going to do his normal routine and put Herbig in there and then work in Zach Frazier? Do we see a different or mediocre Mike this year, or do we see him do the usual thing? We'll start with you, Bill.
Well, Herbig took the first team snaps, I know, in the offseason and OTAs and mini camps. But I'll tell you what, I mean, Frazier, the guy has a lot of I know he has a little bit of injury history there. But I'll tell you what, he played a ton of snaps at West Virginia. And if I think there's a center in this draft that's most ready to start, I'm going to go with Zach Frazier. It's just hopefully his development in training camp and how quickly he's, ready to handle the intellectual component of being a center, because there's a lot of intellectual fortitude that you got to have to be a center. But, I think he's going to, potentially, be a competition for Herbig. But I'm thinking Herbig's going to start if I know Mike Tomlin. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Bubba, go ahead. I know you disagree with this whole thing.
Well, I just think Frazier's going to come in, got a chip on his shoulder. He's very, very smart. Like Shane said on his Steelers Dynasty podcast, like he's been under 3 or 4 offensive coordinators. So he knows Frazier's very, very smart. So he's going to be smart, and he's going to be smart enough to show Herbig that he's going to be the number one center for the Pittsburgh Steelers now and present and future. I just think he's going to showcase
his skills.
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy that we got him, and
Yes.
we should have had a center a couple years ago. But hey, it is what it is.
Smokin' Jim.
Well, I tell you what, you always want a veteran at your center position because they make all the line calls. They set the table listen, Mike Webster didn't start as a rookie. He was a Hall of Famer. DeMarty Dawson didn't start as a rookie. He's a Hall of Famer. So it wouldn't upset me if Herbert can do the job. And it wouldn't upset me for Frazier to sit and learn behind a veteran.
Absolutely. All right. My thought is the same thing. I know mediocre Mike. I've known him for 17 years, and so is everybody else on this panel. He will start the veteran ahead of the rookie every time. And I think Herbig will start. And I think if Herbig screws up, I think Zach Frazier will be inserted in there, and he'll be the starter the remainder of the season and throughout the future. And, so my question is the one thing that I'm really concerned about is I want to see what this offense with Arthur Smith, and we've been talking about that throughout the show, but that's my main thing. I'm concerned about the defensive line as well. I'm concerned about the cornerbacks, the wide receivers. There's and again too, I've been barking about special teams. I've been barking that they need to go get somebody that can return kicks and punts. They got the guy from Atlanta, the running back. So we're going to see what he does this year. Special teams, guys, we'll start with you, Smokin' Jim.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to talk about Arthur Smith, I tell you what, I'm a run first guy anyway. Lou Holtz told me one time that he likes to run because it's so easy. All you do is turn around and give the ball to Jerome Bettis. But when you pass the ball, a lot of things can go wrong. A lot of things got to go right. And I think we got two outstanding running backs. You're going to have to put 7-8 guys in the box to stop that run, and play action pass is going to be so sweet this year.
Yes. Yeah. Bubba, special teams.
Special teams is going to be totally different with this new kickoff rule and all that other stuff. So we can actually be viable with Cordell Patterson. And also, I know, Smokin' Jim talked about, the Bill Burr, the comedy guy right there coming in. We're already in. And then like when Smokin' Jim talked about Bishop, I think Bishop could be our new punt returner.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there's going to be competition for that. So, hopefully Bazooka Joe there chews gum and gets stuff situated, and we score and get some good field. Get some good field position.
Oh yeah. Bill.
Well, I'll tell you what, I said it all last year. I was tired of Presley Harvin's inconsistencies. I mean, he was just giving teams awesome field position all the time. And, you bring in Cameron Johnson, veteran punter. He's 32 years old. Like you said, the Bill Burr lookalike, looks just like him. Yep. Been in the league 7 years. Punting, you can't take the foot out of football. Punting is the kicking game is very important, and more so now. With this new kickoff, getting into that. I mean, kickers now, it's all about ball placement. I mean, you have to kick the zones. I mean, it's not you just can't kick it through the end zone and meet you at the 25. But like I said last year, I mean, Harvin was just atrocious, and now I think hopefully we got our punting situation rectified. But
all right, yeah. So do I, Bill. I agree with you 100% on that. I was so unhappy about Harvin, and they had some guys that backed him up that did way better than where they inserted because he was hurt, and then he had that issue with his father passing away or whatever. And I know that can be tough. I've had some death in my life, and it's really hard. I get that, but he was just inconsistent. He was the Ray Guy Award winner, ACC Punter of the Year. For a few years, he was supposed to be this big specialist that fake punts and fake kicks. We saw nothing of that kind. You know, and you know, Claudia Rosano once said this: you want to beat Mike Tyson, sometimes you got to kick dirt in his face, or you got to throw something at him, or whatever. You got to do what you have to do to win games. And I've always said this: if you need to do an onside kick, or you need to do some kind of a fake punt or a fake kick or something to win a ball or to win a game or get something going, that's what you need to do. Steelers don't do any of that. And I thought with Presley Harvin, they were going to do that, guys. And I was, you know, I was a Presley Harvin fan there at the beginning. And then all of a sudden I saw his inconsistent punting. And I said, I think it's either him or is it Danny Smith? And Danny Smith isn't going nowhere because he's a friend of Mike Tomlin's. And, you know, we all know how that is. Let's get into the coaching staff. We'll start with you, Bill, coaching staff. What do you think of some of the new coaches this year other than Arthur Smith?
Well, I mean, you know, I don't know what even to say.
Coach, I think we got a new quarterback coach, and you know, so. But anyway, all right, Bubba, go ahead.
I'm about the same way as Bill. What can you say? I mean, it's as long as it's not Matt Canada. I mean, I like Arthur Smith, but Terrell Austin is very bland for me. You know, so there's nobody, and I'm not bashing Tomlin. Okay, I'm trying not to this year, and I don't want to start, but there's nobody from his coaching tree that actually, you know what I mean. So, but maybe
Smokin Jim said that.
I know, but last year he got us to the playoffs with the quarterbacks that he had. So he got us to the playoffs. I'm okay with that. And he had the hand that he was dealt with. Hopefully Tomlin can actually be the Mike Tomlin that everybody praises for in Pittsburgh and get us over the hump and get us to where he needs to be.
Bubba, you should see what they say about him across the country and all the you know, the national shows and all that. I'm on some podcasts. I fight with these guys all the time.
But they love him everywhere. They love him. He's loved.
They say, "Oh, you're lucky to have Mike Tomlin." No, we're not. I mean, you know, mediocre Mike to me. I mean, you know, and he's got 3 years, another 3-year extension, and when his contract's up, it'll be 20 years.
If he gets us into the playoffs, he gets us to an AFC championship, and like Smokin Jim said, gets us to a Super Bowl, they'll be like, yay, Mike Tomlin. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be, Ralph. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's the only way he's going to save his legacy, because right now, you know, his legacy is a mediocre coach in my eyes. You know, Smokin Jim, go ahead.
Well, I tell you what, Mike Tomlin again put together the worst coaching staff in the NFL, maybe in NFL history. This guy cannot pick assistant coaches to save his life. There's not a high school team in southwestern Pennsylvania that will hire any one of those guys for a head coach. Listen, the NFL always looking for a token interview. You got to interview at least one black candidate, and they never even get the Steelers a token interview. That's how bad these assistant coaches are, man. So I tell you what, I'm only predicting the Super Bowl because we got a coach on the field and Russell Wilson, and he's hungry. And I think that
he wants to prove himself.
You
know, I mean, you know, after what Sean Payton did to him, you know,
we got everybody as a gift. We got a bunch of guys making $1 million this year, so it's all in for this season. They should have went out, like Bubba said, and got a wide receiver because they had the money, but they wanted to be tight. So, but I still think, you know, because we're not paying anybody in the quarterback room, and we're not paying anybody here and there, except for Coach Tomlin that's making $20 million a year. I can't understand that. But I think this is a Super Bowl season for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, guys. All right. We just went over the coaching staff and everything. Let's get into some. Let's get into the meat of the schedule a little bit here. This schedule looks pretty tough toward the end of the year. Bubba, your thoughts on the schedule?
Well, it is tough. And those 8 games are like going through gladiators in Roman Empire. Like I said, if we get 5-3 or 4-4, you know, and if we start good, Atlanta, Denver, 2-0. Hey, every game to me is going to be a playoff scenario. That's how I'm going to play it this year in 2024.
Yeah, we have to play in the preseason. We play the Lions, and then we start off, like you said, with the Falcons and the Broncos. Those should be 2 wins.
I hope.
Don't spell out Raheem Morris. And last year, I said this, and I was right. I said, which rookie? I even asked you that question, Bubba, when the season started. Remember, I said, which rookie coach do you think the Steelers were going to lose to? And I predicted they were going to lose all three of them, and they did.
Yeah, I remember.
And they lost to every rookie coach in the league last year. And we're going to see what they do against Raheem Morris and his tough defense down there in Atlanta. I'm not sold on Kirk Cousins. He's overpaid. So we're going to find out what happens down there with that. The Broncos, on the other hand, I'm not a Sean Payton fan, especially after what he did to Russell Wilson. And I want us to win that game so Russell Wilson can stick it to him and, and whatnot. Bill, your thoughts on the schedule?
Well, I look after that Commanders game, and I mean, it's just, I mean, you've got you're home to the Ravens, you're at the Browns, you're at the Bengals, you're home to the Browns, you're at the Eagles, you're at the Ravens. You play the Ravens on December 21st, and you've got a quick turnaround and play on Christmas Day on the 25th. And then you've got another divisional game January 5th to close out the season hosting the Bengals. I mean, that second half is just,
oh yeah,
it's going to be, and you were talking about Cam Sutton, I'm happy to actually get him back in that second half because they might need him in that second half of the, of the season.
Well, I welcome his experience. That's the only thing I welcome. You know what I mean? And, he kind of went bye-byes in the first place, and then he ended up getting himself into a little bit of legal trouble. And, Smokin Jim and I know a former Steeler who has been in a doghouse, as they say, Isaiah Buggs. He got himself into some trouble down in Alabama for leaving some dogs out in the excessive heat for a long time. He claims it wasn't his fault. He says he left the dogs with somebody else, and they put them out there and left them out in the heat with no food, no water, that kind of thing. Animal abuse. He was charged with that, and then now he's being charged with something else. So Isaiah Buggs is another one that can't stay out of the doghouse, as they say.
But Ralph, look at it this way: Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Cam Sutton. What is that like? All three of those players, like what, $3 million or something?
$3 million.
Like we got them for economics. All of them were starters last year.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just amazing and an incredible story in itself.
Yeah. Well, they gave here's the point I'm going to make, guys. They gave Michael Vick a shot, and he did dogfighting. So if they're going to give him a shot, and he came in and helped us out, I don't see why. And again, like you said, Bubba, and I always say this: we get these guys on the cheap. And we got them on the cheap. So, I mean, Omar Khan pulled some stuff.
But also, too, Ralph, getting Michael Vick doing that turned the tide of actually getting players that have a bad image for Pittsburgh. They never used to do that before. But now they are. So, I mean, everybody is redemption. Everybody gets a choice of redemption in life. So hopefully Cam Sutton can get out of his demons and actually be successful and, get back into the positive graces of the man upstairs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Smokin Jim.
Well, just a correction, Bubba. It's Coach Tomlin that has a history of bringing in guys. You know what I mean? Even the coach Flores that was suing the NFL.
Yeah, Brian Flores.
Flores,
yeah. So, and he actually should have been the defensive coordinator.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, agree with that.
I think he should have been. Yes, absolutely. I think Terrell Austin's terrible.
The schedule's going to be tough. Even though I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the problem's going to be attrition. You're going to get banged up. You're going to lose people. There's 90 players on the roster right now. And the problem's not going to be getting down to 53. The problem's going to be stopping at 53 because the Steelers don't got 40 players that deserve to be in the National Football League. So if they start getting injured at different positions, like Bubba said, the defensive line coach has done a horrible job.
Carl Dunbar,
After bum on the defensive line. And he still keeps his job, Carl Dunbar. So that's going to be the key. Whoever can stay healthy and through attrition with this tough schedule is going to come out victorious at the end in the AFC North.
All right. Well, you're watching Sports Corner here we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. The reason we're not on Twitter is because I refuse to pay Elon Musk anything. to put my show on live. So it will be posted on my post, but it will not be live on Twitter X
I do the
because
same
I'm
thing.
not paying. Oh yeah, I'm not paying Elon Musk $60 or whatever he wants, per month. I'm not doing. I refuse to do that. So they can stick it. I'm still working on Instagram. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. And a buddy of mine's supposed to help me with TikTok. Get us on TikTok, and we're also going to be going on Roku TV real soon. Spotify, I just got that worked out this week. I got the kinks worked out with them. And also we're going on PCTV in Pittsburgh, channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable in Allegheny County, and also on PCTV's Facebook page. We're going to be live August the 1st. It'll be me, Smokin, Jim Frazier, Luther Dupree, and Junior, and also Claudia Rosano from the Steel City Sports World Boxing Authority show, and also Keith Platt from the Platt's Point of View show on PCTV as well. We're going to break down some sports and have a nice discussion. We'll be taking your phone calls as well. So tune in, PCTV, channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable, Allegheny County, and also we'll be live on PCTV's Facebook page also as well. And and also we'll be on my YouTube channel. I'm going to start uploading the TV show up to there, and also on Spotify and whatnot coming up soon. Also Roku. I'm going to have my own Roku channel real soon, and maybe even be getting on. I have some internet radio stations I'm looking at, Mix LR, and a couple other ones. So we'll be back on the radio. It'll be internet radio, not the radio stations around here in the Pittsburgh area. I want to talk to you today about Sleep Pittsburgh, 412-462-7858. Sleep Pittsburgh. Look, Sleep Pittsburgh has the best value and the best, also the best mattresses for the price. They sold me a memory foam mattress at a bargain price. They delivered it. They were very nice with me. They did it all on the phone, on the computer, wherever you want to do it, sleeppittsburgh.com. Check out their inventory, or on your way to a certain amusement park and a certain water park, you might want to stop by on 8th Avenue in Homestead and check out their showroom, Sleep Pittsburgh, for the best sleep. They have futons, day beds, and mattresses, and a whole lot more. SleepPittsburgh.com. And also Sleep Pittsburgh. Call them today, 412-462-7858. Also, no credit check financing. So also check that out as well if you have bad credit, or if you have credit problems. We all make mistakes with credit and everything else. Some local sports real quick, guys. Before we go, Pirates records 51 and 48 or 49. I'm sorry. They're doing a really they just won 2-1 yesterday against the Cardinals. A chance to sweep tonight at 6:40. Riverhounds beat the Hartford team 3-1 this past Saturday. Their record's 5-6-9. They're not having a really good season, but they're still selling out games down at Highmark Stadium. The soccer in this town is starting to become very, very good here. They play London United FC, whoever that is or whatever that is, this Saturday. They're away, and then on August 3rd, they host Sacramento. So the Riverhounds. Also, Aaron Donald, former Pitt and LA Rams player, has made the ESPN Top 100 Professional Athletes at number 20. So congratulations to Aaron Donald. And Pitt football today will send today had Gavin Bartholomew, Donovan McMillan, and Nate Yarnell to represent them at the ACC Media Day today and Kickoff Day down in Charlotte, North Carolina. So any thoughts on that, guys? Bill, we'll start with you.
Oh, boy. Pirates, hey, I mean, it's just like this. It's like up and down, up and down, up and down.
Roller coaster.
Yeah. I mean, hoping they do something here at the trade deadline. I'm not sure that they're going to. I'm not holding out hope on that. But Skeens, I mean, what can you say?
If it wasn't for Paul Skeens, I don't think the Pirates will be relevant this year.
And there's Nick Gonzalez has really surprised me. I think Sawinski is starting to play better. Reynolds has had a tremendous season. We'll see where it's going to go. I don't know. It's
trade deadline's coming up. We're going to find out if they're going to be sellers, buyers, or if they're going to throw the whole team off the bus. So we'll see what happens.
And then to the Riverhounds, I mean, you know what? I tell you what. I think they went 600 and something minutes without scoring a goal. I mean, it was like, you know, it was like 5 or 6 games without scoring a goal. They're missing a lot of guys. I know Albert Dequa leaving that team. He was their number 1 goal scorer last year. There really hasn't been many guys that have stepped up and taken the place of him. So they've struggled. They still sell out though. I tell you what, we do a soccer show on Saturdays. Me and my co-host with the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, Ed, and you know we still cover, you know, the Riverhounds, still talk Riverhounds, but man, it's been hard covering them this year. They've been pretty suspect.
Yeah, I had Matt Grubb on here, Bill. He's the media relations guy, and he came on here and talked with us about the Riverhounds, and I have him on a lot. And he said the one thing though that the Riverhounds guys have done this year is they've been in every game. They haven't really gotten blown out, and that's been the best thing. They've been competitive. They just, like you said, Bill, haven't scored any goals.
Yeah.
And you know, when you can't score goals and you have a goalie that's brand new that came in this year from the MLS that was supposed to be this big time thing, and took him a while to get acclimated to what he was doing. And so that's another story there as well. Bubba, your thoughts on all what I talked about?
Well, I mean, you talked about the Pirates, and I'm not a big Bob Nutting fan, and I heard Mark Cuban was in town a couple weeks ago. I wish you would have bought the team. But I mean,
double, Bubba.
I know.
The Pirates are not for sale.
Well,
I mean,
that's shame. It's terrible. I don't know ever. I'm going to be 53 here very, very soon, and I don't know if we'll ever see anything like I saw in the 70s and early, mid 80s to early 90s. Like I don't know. And soccer, I just watched Ted Lasso, so I got nothing on that. So.
But at least you talked about the Pirates, so you know.
I love the Pirates. I love the Pirates.
There, buddy.
No, I love the Pirates. I've been a Pirate fan all my life. But it's irritating. It makes me so mad. Yeah.
Okay, Smokin' Jim.
Well, I don't know why Aaron Donald's in the top 100. He'd already quit on his teammates. He ain't no athlete no more. But hey, you know how I feel about Paul Skeens. I think he's a natural born leader. Already got him as one of the top 10 Pirates of all time. And I tell you what, this is a guy that will not let his teammates quit. And he's pitching tonight, and the whole world watches when Paul Skeens pitches or his girlfriend is showing in the stand.
Yeah,
that's Kenny Powers. I call him Kenny Powers.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man. When you go to St. Louis and you pitch the game, Paul Skeens pitched in St. Louis, and all the St. Louis fans stand up and clap.
That means
something. That's something. That is genuinely special. That's somebody who, you know.
And they don't. And I lived in St. Louis for a couple of years. They don't do that just for anybody.
Oh, I can believe that. You know. So anyway, all right. Bubba, tell us a little bit about your wrestling company. Tell us about you got an event coming up August 24th down in Johnstown, and unfortunately, I can't make it, but Smokin' Jim will be there. Okay. I have business to take care of for RW Media up in Erie. So I'm going to be up there for a couple of weeks. I'm trying to expand my network up in Erie, and I have I
feel you. You got to expand the horizons of the world. But August 24th at 7 p.m. at the Castle facility in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. First time ever. The Allied Powers Wrestling Federation will be in the house. We got 7, 8 exciting matches. We got WWE 2-time tag team champion Henry Godwin coming in and signing autographs. Super nice guy. And Smokin' Jim, there'll be a press pass for you always at the door. And the first show was we had a little bit of music technical difficulty. Won't ever happen again. I crossed my T's and dot my I's. But being a wrestling promoter in Western Pennsylvania, let's just put it this way, guys. There's a show every weekend, and I wish all these wrestling promoters would actually get along, but egos are egos, and I just try to be the most positive person I can be, and I try to extend the hand of positivity to. I would like to see a independent WrestleMania in the Pittsburgh and Central area, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. So that's a story. That's a show inside itself there, Ralph.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It is. You're right. That would be a show inside itself. And, but anyway, Yeah. So, Bubba, you have this event coming up on the 24th, and you have another one in October, which
October
also
26th.
as well. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
October 26th. I do charities. We do charities for every show. August 24th, we are giving underprivileged kids school supplies. So if everybody donates $10, they get a chance to win 2 tickets to the October 26th show. And then October, we're doing a Make-A-Wish show for charity. And then next year, I want to do, and I know, Bill, you said you're in the military. And last week on the Steeler Dynasty podcast, I had Steve from It's All About the Warriors Foundation on. And I tell you what, he's an awesome dude. I never met him in my entire life, but hats off to him. And I know they got a big event coming up in September 24th. And, it's just, it was just an honor to have him on the show, and anybody in the military. My hat's off to you guys. So,
absolutely. Okay. Final thoughts before we wrap up here. And Bill, since you're our newest guest, you start off. Final thoughts.
Well, I'm looking forward to the many storylines that we're going to have in camp here. Getting kicked off tomorrow. I'll be listening to Steelers Nation Radio all the time, just trying to get the inside scoops on everything. Didn't mean to name drop, but hey,
you got to do it.
I get my info from those guys. They're right down there, in the thick of things, doing the reporting. But I mean, really, I'm excited about the Pirates. I'm hoping that they can ride this into a wild card. We'll see what happens. But I tell you what, it's some people say it's a bad time to be a Pittsburgh sports fan. I don't know. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I always look for the silver lining and everything. So I'm excited. So
yeah, I want to see what Kyle Dubas is going to do in his second season this year with the Penguins as well, Bill. I think that the Penguins, they need to re-sign Sidney Crosby, keep him here. He's the staple of this team. They need to figure out how they can. They fired their assistant coach and Tom Reardon. So I'm interested to see what they do with this new guy that they brought in to work with Mike Sullivan, and let's see what Sullivan and company do this year. All right, Bubba, final thoughts.
My final thoughts tomorrow at 10:30. It starts tomorrow, Steelers season. My Steelers Dynasty podcast is going to be ready to go. I'm probably going to do 2-3 shows a week. I'm ready, and that doesn't even include the Triple B Experience show. So podcast, Steelers stuff is going to be happening. It's going tomorrow at 10:30. I hope it don't rain. I hope I can catch it right after work because I'm going. So it's game on starting tomorrow, man. Steeler podcasting all over is going to be all got. We didn't have nothing to talk about for a month and a half because I do some stuff with Steeler Nation Australia, do some collaborations. We didn't have much to talk about, but now we do, starting tomorrow at 10:30. I'm ready.
It's ready to go, and I think everybody's going to stray away from the Pirates and start going to
I
these
hope
training
not.
camps.
I hope not because they don't do that.
I mean, usually that's what happens, but I think with the record of the Pirates right now in Skeens, I don't see that happening this year. I think the Pirates are going to draw beyond the Steelers started training camp. Smokin' Jim, final thoughts.
2024 is the no mercy. I'm running Jalen Warren and Najee Harris until the wheels fall off. I'm running them. I'm throwing to them. No mercy, baby. Whatever it takes to get to the Super Bowl.
That is it. And don't forget, we'll be back with wrestling on August the 6th. We're taking some time off because I got special shows. Next Tuesday, college football special. I have somebody from West Virginia coming on. In fact, I'm going to see if I can get Shane to come on and talk. And I have Kevin Kinder coming on as well. He reports for WVU. I also am working on a Penn State guy come on because my normal contact hasn't returned my calls yet. And I think he's busy in Carolina working for Draft Nation. Also, I'm going to possibly have Jerry DePaula here from the Trib. We're going to talk about the local teams, the big teams, what they're doing this year, what's going to happen, how things are going to work out. We'll talk about their conferences, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the ACC. So next week, busy show. Oh, some great guests. You know me, I'm good at booking the guests on this program as well. That's why Smokin' Jim calls me. What is it, Smokin' Jim?
The booking machine.
Hey, you got it. There you go. All right. And for Bill Aikens, Bubba Brewer, and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Nice to meet you, Bubba.
I'm Ralph Williams. This has been Sports Corner. Everybody have yourself a wonderful evening and be safe, please. Thank you.